All right. Sin usually does the countdown, but I will do it. We are starting in three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 192 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny, interview guests, and talk about our love of the game. And this week, we want to especially welcome a great streamer, one of the nicest Destiny PvE raid and dungeon helps I know of, and one of the best laughs on the internet, Mr. Danfinity. How you doing, man?
How dare you be so kind? Thank you.
It's all true.
Very true. I mean, thank you guys, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm just out here doing what I do, and trying to make a good place on the internet. And if I'm succeeding, that's great. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Well, glad to have you here. And you know, it's easy and it's natural if it's something that you like doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you like Destiny, and you like helping people, and you like, I've always seen you been doing cool things in the community, and boy, you stream, you help people. You have a podcast called Destiny Digest, which everyone, if you haven't subscribed to that yet, pause the show and subscribe to Destiny Digest, because don't worry, it's not going to be a 3-hour long podcast that you don't have time for. Right? You will have time, and you better listen to this podcast.
Yeah, episodes range from 10 minutes to like an hour tops.
Right on. Weekly, right? Is that kind of still the goal, what you're doing with it?
So like way back in the day, I tried to do Destiny Digest was a dream of like, oh, I'll do a daily Destiny show. And that's like Sin Media hopped in on that, and like Arrow hopped in, and Green Eyed Music Lover, and we were all doing that for like a month, and then I burnt out on it because it took 2 hours to like do any type of research and writing the script, and then for like 10 minutes of content each day, and I was like, this has got to end. We all must stop this. It was fun while it lasted, and there was like a month where I was making consistent Destiny podcast with a great group of people. Planet Destiny kind of was like, I was already working on Planet Destiny, so it was like it was already adding more to my whole thing. My whole I had so many plates that I was spinning, and that was just one too many, and so I had to let something slide, and Destiny Digest originally was that one. But now that Planet Destiny is done, like we called it quits in September of this year. I figured I'd get it back up and running. It's a weekly show. It starts out with a scripted bit by me, usually breaking down the big hits of the week, and then sometimes there's an interview or a panel, and I try to make those a lot of shows will have like a guest on every week and just run through the TWAB. And it was something that, if you look at how the seasonal structure is, and I think we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but if you look at how the seasonal structure is, you can kind of base your content around where the season is coming, ebbing and flowing. And so I was like, okay, like in week 8 we'll do a lore panel where we talk about like the seasonal story that's probably just wrapped up. Like that's about week 8 or 9. Then we have week 7 will be when GMs come out. So let's talk about that in week 7 or 8. We have PvP coming around, the changes to PvP. Maybe you do that a little bit earlier in the season and maybe circle back around to it later on to get a kind of a snapshot of how people are enjoying that at the beginning and at the end. There's just all sorts of different creative ways that you can do Destiny podcast panels. And so that's really been the focus for me, is to do interviews, yes, but also see if I can put panels together of disparate creators and sometimes people who aren't even creators. Like that's something that I'm open to as well. And just get the general feeling from the community about this hobby that we're all passionate about. And so
yeah,
that was that's kind of like the impetus and kind of the whole kit and caboodle on the history of the thing.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, and it's a great format because, like you said, you kind of just pick some hits of the week. So, and you definitely put a good production and your spin on it. It's not like just, well, we have to read the TWAB just because. I mean, obviously there will likely be something in a TWAB most weeks that are a hit, but it might be a story of, well, now we're all talking about the seasonal model, or it might be a story of the dungeon came out, so this is really exciting. So, yeah, I mean, we all kind of do it, but how do you do it so well in such a short amount of time? You just, boy, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. So Destiny Digest is kind of, or like the scripted bits are kind of my my testing of how to write YouTube scripts, and that's over the next year. That's really where I'm going to be pushing hard for my content, is to make guides and all sorts of things. So I wanted to start getting into the vein of writing scripts so that I could put together what I think are the big overarching ideas of the week, and get in that mode. I think it takes me, at this point, I'm usually aggregating like stories for like over a couple of days and just being like, okay, I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. Or like in the case of this past week's where there was a dungeon release, it's kind of easy for me to, since I went in on day one, talk about my day one experience as a content creator, especially a Twitch streamer. I feel like most of my job isn't to tell developers how to do theirs. My job is to gauge how I feel about what I'm playing and the product that they're producing, as well as gauge community sentiment and push that forward. So when I'm using Destiny Digest as a little bit of a way to hone my feedback as well.
Makes sense. And I think you'll do great on the YouTube, of course. And you're right. You need to have, probably why I've never gotten into it. I just don't have the desire. But if you have a good script, a good idea for posting your videos, then that is what is going to keep people interested and want to watch them.
Yeah. The way that like attention spans are anymore. It just, I've been striving to try to make short, quick hits.
Yeah.
And get them out. Make a punk song instead of an octopus's garden.
Well, we used to always say here too, we'd always appreciate Fallout would typically do shorter YouTube videos. So we always kind of liked that. And, there's a time and place for long ones too. Like if you're doing like a bifloor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like you got to do the right amount. And I understand there's the analytics and everything, but it is nice to appreciate smaller clippets too. Or maybe have like one of both, like a medium length and like a short thing.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Ooh.
oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, I take offense to that attention. What was I talking about?
Yeah, what was
Anyway.
what's a good length these
Man,
days?
I don't even know what
10
I'm talking
seconds?
about. I don't even
Is
know
10
what I'm talking
seconds too short?
about. I mean, you have to talk to your wife about that. But anyways,
Nice, man.
so
Yeah. Well, I do want to, since you and we alluded to this and you stream and you help people with stuff, and this will be a very apropos topic right now, but the new dungeon came out, Spire of the Watcher. And first,
yeah.
what do you think about it? Just kind of first, well, I'm sure you've run it a lot, but initial impressions.
So when I ran it initially, we went in on Master. I went in with my friends Rev and Shield Maiden. And Rev normally helps me out on Sundays with helps and everything like that. And so they were looking for a third, and I had hit him up and I was like, "Hey man, you got a team?" And he goes, "Yeah, you just want to be on my team?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. That would be fantastic." We went in on Master. It was very challenging. The differences in Master and regular are basically that there's just I think they're unstoppable minotaurs, and that's really the big shift there. When I've gone through on regular, it's been fairly breezy. I'm learning a lot of like where the nodes are. I got the bow on my very first run, but that was after like 8 hours, and like 2 hours of that was the API being down and
Oh yeah.
and all that. It was a weird launch. And then but like got the bow first day. I've helped several people with the dungeon since, learning the nodes. I like the node puzzle, though somebody did point out that it is basically just the visualized version of what the it's the visualized version of what the oracles are in Vault of Glass, where you have to hit them in order to connect everything together. It's very, very cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it. The loot, I'm not a huge fan of cowboy hats, but maybe that's just like me, man. And but the weapons are super cool, and I like that they have an identity to them, much like Jacob's from Borderlands. And yeah, it's a very solid dungeon. Out of all of them, I'd probably, anything that I say is probably recency bias, but it's Duality and Spire have kind of like a special place in all of them. They're not at the top for me because I think I personally like Pit of Heresy a lot. I also like Grasp quite a bit, which I know is kind of a controversial take when it comes to the dungeon tier lists and everything. But it's I like it probably like in my third spot.
Okay. And do you feel like this one is fairly easy for new people to catch on? Let's say you're helping someone through.
I mean, like, yeah, because it's a lot of jumping puzzles, and the shooting puzzle is pretty much the same. Like, yellow wires, you have to connect them in order. Red wires, you have to do them within a certain time frame. Like, there's not too many pieces to juggle, and somebody can feel really good about catching on quickly. So it's I really enjoy it. How have you guys liked it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. And actually, this is the first time we're talking about it on our podcast because
Mhm.
we usually record on Thursdays, but the dungeon came out on a Friday, so
Right.
we missed it the last time. I like it a little more than Duality, mostly just because I feel like I know this sounds funny, but the color scheme is just so oppressive to me, and just sometimes some of the things that happen in there, the minor bugs or
Mhm.
the things you have to deal with seem a little more annoying in Duality.
Yeah.
But it's just slightly more. I like it, I think, because slightly more because finally something a little different with the Vex. And I like being able to shoot the nodes. It's kind of a fun thing. Even if start to learn where they all are, it's really just then a race on how quickly you can do it. So there's always something to kind of go for.
Mhm.
And the boss mechanics are good enough. So yeah, I don't know if I would rate it my highest one, recency bias also, but probably too early to say right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
The story's cool. The story's
Yeah,
cool
the
for
story's
it.
cool.
Like the
Yeah.
fact that you're going in to like they're running a sabotage mission on you, on you, and like you have to like it's Osiris has some skin in the game because he's like this is how I get trust back, and the side tangent of Aramis getting there and basically just leaving minutes before you show up. Just a very solid story wise. It's interesting, and its ties to where we're going to be going in Lightfall are cool too. Yeah, I really like it. It's I wish there weren't cowboy hats, but I'm good with it.
Well, on that topic, I like I main a warlock and I love all the gear except for the hat.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hunter hat cape combo looks pretty cool. I'm not big into cowboy garb either, but I think the hunter one looks amazing. And if I run my hunter, I will definitely go for the whole setup. And I forget what the Titan one looks
Bon
like.
Jovi look. You're a cowboy on a steel horse you ride.
Yeah, and
You're
and
wanted, dead or
with the
alive.
warlock, right? I love it. With the warlock too, the pants are a little bit wider. They're not kind of like this. A lot of warlock pants are almost like tights, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are a little wider. They actually have spurs in the back. So I've been running it with a different helmet, still the Fortnite, cat
Mm-hmm.
helmet with my warlock, but it actually looks good with that and the rest of the cowboy gear, kind of, in my opinion.
Cool.
I'm sorry, did you say cat helmet?
Cat helmet. Yeah.
Yeah,
You say
There's-
cat helmet?
There's a the
the
Fortnite
Fortnite crossover thingy.
crossover. Yeah.
Is that not a kitsune mask?
It's a
I'm sure it is. Yeah, I just was
It's not a
giving it.
cat, that's a fox, you uncultured plebs.
Yeah, I was
My
giving
God.
it whole kill term.
Jesus.
Hey, everybody's got to have one. It's good that you get yours out of the way now.
Yes, they're definitely fox ears. I should have known that, but
I'm sorry, I'm too much of a weep.
yeah, but it looks pretty good. I'll have to post this in the Discord sometime. I have like a dark color scheme on it.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Kato, who's Kratos right now in our Discord, also posted in the live chat. He knew also. I mean, sorry
Kitsune.
everyone. Sorry. Guess I'm uncultured.
Jeez, get your anime right, man. Come on.
I know. Now I almost forgot what I was going to say. No, but I do remember. So there's that, and then I mean it's a pretty good dungeon, and it'll be fun to run it for a bit. I like how you can farm it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's always good. I don't have the exotic yet, but I haven't done it too many times yet, so I'm not concerned. What you got it, and what do you think of it?
Interesting. I started playing around with it like a couple days afterward. My big weapons, I really like bows. Glaives have kind of taken my heart over bows the past year because the glaives are just like so damn fun to like just run up and stab people with. And then of course anarchy like that, and I'm glad that this season Unstoppable's back. But the hierarchy of needs, it's weird. I don't basically you charge it up by firing on combatants. You get more guiding ring energy as you do precision hits, of course. But if you hit a body, it'll also charge that up. And once you hip fire it, once you hip fire the bow, it creates this Siva guiding ring. So you can fire through it, and it takes your arrow, turns it into these seeker nanites, and attacks the enemy on the other side of the portal. And it does that for a few seconds on the other side. The cool thing is you can hop on either side of that portal and fire through it, and it have the same effect. It's not just a one-way thing. But they kind of made a more complicated Tikus out of all of it. And with Tikus, the arrows seek and prime, and then when you aim down sights and fire again, it makes everything explode. It's the Michael Bay of bows. This is kind of the opposite. Like you just have to charge it, and then you get the seekers. I guess there's a bit to it where if you're at longer range, it does more damage. But I've not seen anything where it's I haven't seen anything where it's more the type of damage output that it sneaks out. I wonder, like, I know the podcast versus enemies guys because they're tied with Destiny Massive Breakdowns, might have more answers on that. But I just don't see myself trading that out for what I'm running this season, which has mostly been a blinding grenade launcher, anarchy, and then a pulse rifle.
Well, let's talk about anarchy for a second. I remember back when Scourge of the Past was around that you loved running helps on that one. Remember when it was farmable?
Oh, I remember.
You remember.
I remember. I ran so many of those things. Hold on. What's my raid report on that?
Yeah, let's see. What's the raid report on that?
I think, well, it was mostly just that boss checkpoint.
Sure. Which would still give you a clear, you know?
Yeah. But we got so damn good at like running that thing over and over. I have let's see here. I have 258 clears of it with probably, who knows, I'm going to say maybe like it's an obscene amount that are just clears of that whole thing.
Well, and everyone needed to go for that at the time, even if they didn't realize that. I mean, because anarchy is a good weapon. It's had many times where it's super hot to just medium hot, and I'm sure you have some good things to say about it right now, which I am curious about. So you helped people through that. You have that. Oh, by the way, do you miss that raid being gone, or did you ever get sick of it running it so many times?
I mean, like, the way that we were running it, it was kind of fun because, like, we were using that the speedrunner strat or the low man strat for clearing out and getting rid of different debuffs and everything. So that was interesting. I don't know if I miss it. I think we have a good block of raids right now. I miss Wrath of the Machine more than I do Scourge of the Past, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, and looks like we have a Sin Media that has just joined.
Hi, Sin. Welcome back.
Hello.
And you showed up right when he said the word Wrath of the Machine, and you must have heard your nose twitching or something and felt your nose twitching.
Nose twitching? Like, what kind of backwards thing is that?
You sound a little further away, but I think we can still hear you good.
I'm not further away, sir. But I'll put the mic in my mouth for you.
It sounds echoey or kind of quiet.
Yeah, you might be using like a
Oh, hold on.
Your webcam mic.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe, possibly. Okay,
Yeah.
Wrath, do you think, Dan, that it is possible that one might be coming back this next year?
I mean, it's always possible, and I think it makes sense for them to bring it back, as they've kind of hinted at doing that more with their content releases, especially with like new raid, old raid, new raid, old raid. So
Yeah,
we'll have
I hope.
Nightfall, and then in August we'll probably have Wrath of the Machine, or
Probably.
maybe they'll add another thing to Crota's End. Who freaking knows, man? But I don't put it outside of the realm of possibility.
Wrath would be huge.
Oh, there's your beautiful, beautiful voice.
Wrath was
The
a
mic
lot of
settings
fun.
did get changed.
I figured. The Wrath was just like a very kinetic raid. There was a lot of movement to it. You had to work as a team, yet it did have hero moments in there that were, especially if you knew how to juggle the cannons at the end. That was a whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that one deserves some shine and a comeback. I was hoping for it in August, but King's Fall came through. King's Fall is a fine raid. I really like the changes that they made to that. It's no Wrath of Machine in my heart, but I think I miss Wrath more than I miss Scourge. Scourge, I ran a lot of. I enjoyed the boss, but there was kind of like a lot of meh in it. Like a lot of hurry up and wait. And I've been enjoying raids recently where it's more like Deepstone Crypt. I think that one's very solid. You have 2 boss encounters, you have a chaos mode, puzzle room, and that kind of hits a lot of my buttons in rating experiences that I enjoy. Val, it took some growing on me, but Val has very much the same structure with a bot, but the boss is even more in your face, which I really enjoy that in raid activity. But yeah, I just think if Scourge came back, they would have to add like another boss or something in there for me to really like.
The funny thing is I think this is one thing the Destiny community can actually agree on. I don't think I've heard anyone say bad things about Wrath of the Machine. Are we actually all on the same page in the Destiny community?
Never. We're never
right?
on the same page.
Well, we'll have to find
Wrath,
someone that doesn't like Wrath, because I haven't talked to anyone yet.
Even if you found somebody, like someone would just say it out of spite.
Probably. You're right.
Yeah.
And then I worry because us D1 players and all the people that haven't played it, I feel like we're talking it up too much. So then when it does come back, the people will be like, "What are you guys hyping this one up for?" I'm like worried now, but we liked it a lot.
I mean, it had a lot going for it. Like it had like 2 boss battles in a puzzle room. That's all you need. You need two boss battles in a puzzle room every time.
But good boss battles.
Yeah.
Not just like stand here boss battles for the whole exact same spot,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's also like technically one more boss battle than Crota had.
Exactly. Fair and valid. I think they're really. I like what they're doing with raids. I think dungeons are the more. I think they're really branching out more with dungeons and seeing what they can push there with difficulty and with mechanics. I think that is kind of like while raids will always be my baby because that's the party game mode, right? Dungeons have kind of usurped it in my heart as like as what I most look forward to out of all the content. But
I hear you.
yeah.
Yep.
GM's closely behind it.
Yep. Well, I was gonna. We this was great. I love the conversation. But real quick on Anarchy, is it good this season? Are you using? Tell us how we should be using Anarchy with I assume with the mod Weekend Clear.
Oh, I'm using it all the time. Weekend Clear is very good. Also, what's the other one? The Scout. I'm gonna have to look this up on.
Yeah, I'm looking
Dim.
it up too. Have the game open.
So Weekend Clear is great. On the artifact, it's also in this is in the 4th tier column, Advanced Scout. So champions you stun take additional damage from teammates. So I've been using that for unstop ogre duty. It kind of works like a charm. You can hit them twice, and every time Anarchy procs, it retouches that Weekend Clear. So Weekend Clear, if you hit somebody with it, lasts for 20 seconds. But because of how Anarchy works, every time it ticks, that restarts that weakening. So you're just constantly keeping them pinged for weaken. With Advanced Scout, as soon as they're stunned, your buddies can come in and smack the crap out of them with other damage. It melts, unstops like crazy.
Yeah.
I've been using it on since Weekend Clear is part of the artifact puzzle, whether you like it or not, in your seasonal activity. It's hasn't really left that slot for me outside of like running linears on Daughters in Kingsfall or on Oryx himself. But otherwise, I'm rocking Anarchy pretty much the entire time. And that also with full auto, it's just stupid. Like, it's dumb. Like with the full auto setting, it is because you could just go thunk 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 thunk.
Right.
It's stupid.
Oh man.
Probably my favorite thing to do with it though is to draw pentagrams on the ground around the
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to draw a pentagram on the ground before somebody slams in the flag. Otherwise it's bad news bears, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to hail Clayton every once in a while. So
I love it.
yeah, it's I've been really enjoying Anarchy this season. And if you haven't picked it up yet, go to the kiosk and spend some of those coins because it's great. It's really good.
I love it.
Yeah. They also so they nerfed it a little bit back in the day, like post arrivals. Because Anarchy was good at everything. But they did nerf it. I believe they took they might have decreased the amount of grenades that you could have in the mag. And I think they also decreased the duration of how long they lasted. I might be wrong there, but that kind of like everybody was like, oh, it's garbage now. It's still good, man. I think it actually got a buff recently too, so I could be wrong on that as well. But it's still very good. It's just not boss melt, like complete boss melt like it used to be.
Yeah. Well, it definitely has its place, at least for one person considering running it, right? And that person is obviously you and a lot of your teams. And I want to look into it some more, and I've been meaning to. So it was also just kind of wanting to talk to you, get some moral support. I used to main it for the longest time, just in everything.
I throw 2 grenades on an unstop, and it's pretty much rote from there. I usually I do those 2 pings, swap to my I have a Blinding Nade, Pardon Our Dust. Swap to that, just get that big burst out of the way, and then finish it down with a pulse rifle, and it's pretty much done.
Yeah. So, Sin, we talked about the dungeon basically, and just the Dan's Destiny Digest. I don't know if you had any questions for him specifically. The only other thing on my list is I did want to, kind of give our initial impression, because we're only in week 2 really, since we've talked about we talked about a little bit, but the seasonal story.
Mm-hmm.
Dan can ask that too, and then maybe we can have some just fun talk at the end about just etc. stuff. How's life, right?
So I do have a question for Dan, as a shout out to Destiny Digest, sir.
What's up?
What have you been grinding for?
Dude, I've red borders. That's it. That's all I've been like. I think I finished up the Season of Plunder grind. I got all those, which Season of Plunder was kind of a wreck for me for getting all those. Last season I got all of the Season of Plunder weapons. I got all of the Dares of Eternity weapons, and I have now 2 out of the 3 exotic glaive recipes, with the 3rd one still eluding me. So basically I've been trying to pace myself and not go into Wellspring over and over and over again, because anytime you're on that grind or you're just playing one activity over and over and over, is kind of mind numbing. So I generally try to steer away from that. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 a day to aim for it, but I'm this week, starting tomorrow, I'll be on the Deepstone Crypt Red Border grind. Because it is the featured raid. You'll be able to farm it to hopefully get all those red borders you need. And just I'm very much a collector when it comes to being able to craft weapons, and I just want to get those red borders out of the way.
Ooh, I'll tell you, we actually hopped in, and we're going to do it again, of course, on Wednesday, because being the featured, we'll get that check off. But we did hop in on Saturday also just to check it out. And it's nice you can farm it at the end. The problem is we had so many raid spoils, the game timed out and took us back to orbit before we were able to use them all.
It definitely is a good way to
go
burn
fast.
those spoils.
It is a good way to burn.
I've had so many of them just piling up in Postmaster for really all 3 characters, and I dumped 240 of them real quick.
Well, not only that, but like because it's the featured raid this week, you can also farm the challenges. So you have a potential for 2 chests out of each encounter, with 2 of those being, with the possibility of one of those or both of those being red border traps. So it's a whole day. Like, I'm probably going to be sick of DSC this week, but I'm going to know it like the back of my hand for when it comes around the second time later on this season. Because I think it's only coming around twice this season as a featured raid because of the shortened time period.
So might as well just worry about it those weeks and really just bang it out. And then, we may get sick of it, but then we can wait a little bit again. Good thought. Yeah. Just real quick, we'll spend a couple minutes. We have the seasonal story this season. I personally have been very impressed with them, even though they're bringing back recycled content, but they made it so interesting with the beginning being a little bit different, the activity being fun, and then the end of each of these being a new area that wasn't in the original content.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of them and the story so far?
story, I'm more interested than probably the past 2 seasons. Haunted really drained my Haunted was absolutely a buzzkill. It was I think a story that they needed to tell in order to get Delightful, but just the whole vibe, man, really kind of not irked me, but bummed me out. And yes. so that then leading into Season of the Plunderer, which was like super grindy, like, and while it was a fun swashbuckling thing, the expeditions killed it for me. I could not bring myself to even want to run expeditions. I really liked Catch Crash. I felt like that was a really awesome activity. But the sauce that they had for last season, where you had to do an expedition afterward in order to get the economy, was not my favorite thing. This season, I feel like it has the right amount of juice for the squeeze. The heist battlegrounds are strike length. It wouldn't surprise me if they show up in the Vanguard Ops playlist next year, to complement the battlegrounds that we got with Season of the Risen. But I think they're a fine activity. I like some of the new mechanics of getting this, like having to hide from the watchtowers. I think loot wise, they seem, you're just getting we're getting a lot of the currency to purchase out of the chests, which is a good thing. You don't have to do a third activity in order for it to take, which is also good. Activity wise, I think they knocked it out of the park. We also have this season, we have the new operation that's going to be going live tomorrow.
Yeah. I know.
For the exotic, is it a pulse?
I think it's a scout.
It's a scout. It's an exotic scout, and it has 4 different catalysts for it, I think.
Which is intriguing.
Yes. And from what I've heard, Mercules is the one this is his kind of like baby and brainchild. So I'm interested to see what is born out of this. I'm also interested to see how Iron Banner goes, because we have that. It's the new Fortress version of Iron Banner. The season has a lot on the plate, and they got a lot of it out early to kind of head off the holiday season and everything. I see this 12 weeks going by fast, and people are going to blink and think that, oh God, Lightfall's right around the corner, and they're going to be right, because we've had moments of triumph. We had the seasonal stuff. We've had Dawning. Now we're going to have the new activity tomorrow, and then Iron Banner. There's just a lot going on right now, and this is kind of what I feel the Destiny seasons do best in the seasonal model. Once it starts getting a little longer in the tooth, or a little bit like with Season of the Plunder, that kind of super grindy push for red borders, that's when you start seeing the community really eat itself alive with just all sorts of malarkey. But anyways,
red borders, you love them and you hate them, right?
Long story short, new activity good, like this season so far.
Excellent. Love to hear it. Yeah, and I think there's just a great feel about the story and the activities so far. Really impressed with, of course, even in just week 2, they bring back, well, Mars, new Mars, right? I mean, yeah, pretty cool. And then I guess we're going to be doing a really cool one, maybe in a space station or something, the whole DSC atmosphere. Yeah. So
there's an orbital station above the Earth, which we didn't know about until now. And we'll be exploring that. I will say For those of you who are spoiler sensitive, there is a cutscene for the end of the season going around right now. It could either be like mid-season or for at the end of the story this season, but there's already a cutscene going around. So if you're sensitive to that, maybe watch yourself, watch your YouTube channels.
Mute them all.
Yeah. I think I'm surprised I actually didn't watch that one yet. I usually am okay with spoilers myself, and we're pretty careful at the Guardian Hub. If we do have that information, it gets in a very special, only one channel. But even that one I haven't watched yet. So
yeah, it's I watched it because I feel like to kind of I end up staying in. I see it as a way to stay informed, and I don't really mind spoilers all that much if it's just story stuff. When it comes to like raid day stuff, that gets a little irksome for me. But you know, right now they've kind of they've said their piece about what they feel about secrets in Destiny and how they are going to go about handling them, especially in this last swab. So at this point, you have to be kind of just okay. Or for me, I have to be just okay with, like, if I see something, not letting it upset me.
Yeah. That TWAB was very interesting too, where they kind of were answering it, but kind of not. It's like the most middle of the road way they could say, like, don't worry, there will be more secrets, but we can't tell you about it. So don't expect it at any particular time, but we hope it will come at some time.
Well, to me, it felt more like it felt like more of a redefinition, kind of like what they did with the arcs or the different 3.0s, right? They're like, hey, these are the words that we're going to use in order to tell you how to use the powers that you have from now on. And we're going to use these verbs in order to train you on how to use weapons in with these abilities that we're going to give you. Now, they redefined they defined publicly how they view secrets. And so our expectations should be based on how they're defining them now, and not based on community sentiment.
Do we have, because we're going to know tomorrow anyways, do we have any kind of hope or inclination that tomorrow will be a secret, quote, quest, or is it probably not going to be that involved? More just, like a whole cool thing, or is it just going to be the third activity and then now we can get this thing?
I would think that it would be a little bit like Presage.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was kind of getting at, saying in a weird way. But, boy, if that, and that's pretty cool. If we get something like that tomorrow, then this season is for sure a banger with how many things are coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seems like, whatever it is, in the trailer for the season, they had what looked like a Braytech facility in space, and then another exo, like an exo Elixni boss being in there.
Well, we know 4 of the nodes too are only in that area, right? Because there's the 4 we can't get yet.
So I'm wondering if maybe that is if they're on a lockout, much like some of the Presage ones were. Maybe they tell a story over weeks, and you're only able to get 1 node per week for about 4 weeks.
Man, we loved Presage. It was so awesome.
I'm pretty sure the Presage was the only thing that I've actually soloed.
Really?
Yeah.
It's solid. Like,
it's solid, yeah.
It was one of those things that, like, you felt when I ran it, I felt proud when I realized how when I realized that I knew many of the nooks and crannies, that I knew how to push forward, that I knew how to finish the activity. I don't think I actually did that one solo flawless, and I think that was mainly because like due to time. But it was a very solid it's in the same breath as 0 Hour for me in how efficiently you could run it, or the Whisper mission. Like, those felt great. Presage felt good for the same reason. Excited to see what they drop tomorrow.
And I'll be working, and I'll miss it, and I'll see everything blow up on Discord, and I'll be sitting at work bored from like 7 to 9, and I'm gonna be like, "Dang, I just wish I was home right now just to play this."
Got to take Tuesdays off soon in the future. That's the day to take off.
That's my
okay.
That's my regular production day. Is in the day that I consistently have off work every week. I didn't plan it to be reset day every week, but damn, am I lucky? Like, I'm able to hop into so much stuff. I didn't, Des. I promise I did. I promise I did. Okay, you caught me. I did. What about you?
Nice.
What about it now?
Where are the bodies buried? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, well, Des or Sin, any other questions for Dan before we start slowly wrapping up here?
It wouldn't be a wise idea for me to ask Dan any question. Any reference to RNG will show me and Dan can go off on tangents for literally an hour.
So, I mean, any 5-minute questions that you have?
Like I said, negative.
Well, we'll start a text chat, maybe.
There will be another DM that's like hundreds of messages long or something like that.
So yeah, Sin doesn't like being in too many DM groups. So we'll start another one. He'll be like, "What the hell's going on?" Another one,
and I'll leave one, and then it'll get alerts that I left them all, and then it's like just the one left.
Oh, I'm starting to get in the same boat. Where it's just like, wait, I don't remember this. This was from 4 years ago. That's why I don't remember it. And then like I leave, and somebody will then message me and be like, "Why'd you leave the thing?" And I was like, "Because of like I haven't said anything in this message for years." And then they get mad at me, and then they don't invite me to their birthday, and then I don't send them Christmas cards, and now we're still fighting, Greg. I'm sorry.
I like to do jokes where when Sin leaves a group and there's still like 4 of us in it, I'll say something like, "Phew, he's gone," and then see if someone else responds, and I'll take a screenshot and send it to Sin.
So even though I get rid of them out of my DMs, I still get DM'd about them.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Still bugs Sin.
Yeah, I'm a clean freak when it comes to like at work too. Like I move email messages around. They have their own special folder where they'll linger if I need to reference them. But my inbox stays clean.
I've been doing my best to try to manage my time better, and it's just one of those things that like I don't answer DMs as much as I used to, because like I know my brain and I'll just start the spiral. and if I start the spiral into whatever this message is right now, when I should be I need to get done with these Nightfall banners by this weekend, because I know I'm not going to have time for it, because I have a podcast that I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow morning. I'm interviewing Big Daddy Teach tomorrow morning, and then I have to edit that before I stream on Tuesday. Then I have to like get everything assembled and put together on Wednesday for Friday release. And if I stop for a second because somebody's like, "What's going on with Jeremy?" then I'm not going to get those things done, and I need to just push through and do those things. So
Yeah. Well, and you've been doing excellent work. We were talking before the show. When you stream, you have these really cool spots, and and sorry, what were you calling them? Not ads, but
I'm calling they're
bumpers?
basically banner ads.
Banner
but
ads,
they're,
yeah.
like the ones that I'm making right now will drop down on timers, and they each have their own kind of subcategory. So one subcategory is like my sponsors. Then 10 minutes is going to pass. Then it'll drop down and say like what my schedule is, what you plan on showing you what I do every week. So it tells you what happens on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then another one's going to bump down to show you what GM Nightfalls are going to be for this season, what the breakers are, what the burns are, and what the shields are for each of those encounters. And then on the 28th, I'm going to be doing a charity fundraiser for Second Helpings. This will be the second one that I've done. It's called Feeding Frenzy. It's going to be a most of the day thing, not a 24-hour thing, because I need sleep, and I know this about myself. But we're aiming to raise $10,000 for that, so I need to make a bumper for that. All of these things are videos, and very much like bumper ads that you would see on other websites, but I'm making them personalized for the channel so that they're not annoying.
No, they're amazing people. They are amazing. I was watching your stream the other day, and you're like, "I'll be right back," and I'm like, ads are about to. So I'm like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." And then, but then, oh, these are cool. They're short. They're fun. They're informative. You know what I mean? Like, I really like them. I'm not just saying that. You did a good job, sir.
Well, thank you. And those aren't necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm making like banner ads that go above my health bar.
Yeah. So
for this next
good point.
Of
but everything you do is just such great entertainment and value. And we were talking about like the right links to have things, and just everything about it's pretty good.
I've been doing this long enough now that I think it's next year will be 7 years of streaming. I'll have been working on podcasts for at least 5 of those. And I really like production stuff. And I really like kind of pushing and seeing gaps where other people aren't doing things, and seeing if I can set a high watermark for people to then push themselves to achieve. And I've seen that a lot amongst a lot of people that I respect, that they also do the same thing. And I'm starting to see other people being like, "Oh, damn, I figured out how to do this thing with this bot so that now 100 different pennies fall on the ground every time I get a kill." And it's like, yeah, dude, like that's the Japanese game show stuff. Let's do that with Twitch streams, because that makes it keeps attention. It makes things weirdly interesting, and it gives people something to talk about when it's maybe something as rote as playing a Crucible match. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you technically are a returning guest to our podcast, and we asked people first, what's your favorite dessert? But you can go with another dessert, or you can graduate to picking a food or a drink. In general, something that you've had recently or is a favorite to you?
You know what? Jenny made this mint, like it was an edamame mint salad the other day. That was from some sort of, I want to say that she got like an America's Test kitchen book, and there was an edamame mint arugula salad in there, and it was awesome. It was bomb ass. I would.
Sounds good. I do like arugula and mint.
It feels like it would be a very nice summery kind of refreshing thing. Maybe with a Sprite. Maybe you have a Sprite with it. Maybe you have a side of lamb. I don't know, but it was very good.
Yeah.
Now the salad part, my oldest daughter would probably enjoy. Anything meat related, she is out.
Gotcha. Understood.
Can have it multiple different ways, but yeah, by default, it's just the salad.
It sounds good. I think that would be something she would be interested in. So I want to bring it up to her.
Oh man, excellent.
The side of lamb is to share Glenn Close, but no cigar.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, you have your stream that you do, and you talked about you have your schedule on that. Tell people again, wrap up the best ways to get a hold of you, any ways you want them to find you.
Okay. I've been doing this for most of my life now, it feels like, so get ready. Hi, my name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok at Danfinity, where the eyes are L's. You can also find me on Twitch 3 days a week, twitch.tv/Danfinity, where we help people with PvE activities. You can also find me on Hive now. I actually got at Danfinity on Hive. The OnlyFans is secret. Shh, we talk about outside of that, you can find me on Discord as well, discord.gg/Danfinity. We got one of those fancy links, and over 1,100 people in there helping each other out and doing all sorts of activities. So I just want to hang out. That's it. I just want to hang out. Destiny Digest on your podcast platform of choice. I just want to hang out. That's it.
Yep. Check out the places, everyone. The Discord, the podcast, the streams, everything. Check it out.
Everybody's making a big deal in the live chat about my OnlyFans. Here's the thing. I simulcast the same days that I stream on Twitch. It's just one of the cameras is above the desk and the other one's below. So you have to figure it out from there. Anyways.
Do you have a secret partnership with onlysins.com?
.com?
Sure.
Exactly.
That's Sin's only fan. He has only sins.
Gotcha.
I actually have that domain saved, by the way, just have not done anything with it yet.
I tried to get Only Dan's and somebody else got it. And I messaged them and they said $1,000 and I said no thanks. It's not that like, funny of a joke.
Right.
I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, not that funny. But
I bet I could get the GG for 100.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh man. There's so many weird domains now, right? It's like,
yeah.
What is the best one to pick? Yet still.com is really what you want if you can.
Right.
How the world has changed, but not changed. Well, what hasn't changed is how awesome you are, Dan. We really appreciate having you on tonight, and everyone listening here, check them out, all the things. And I guess we'll close up real quick. Des, where can people find you? Good sir.
You can find me on Twitter at DS_Raven. The joke keeps rolling, but of course, oh yeah, that's right. I guess Dan wouldn't know. Yeah, I still have my Twitter, but ever since changing phones, I haven't installed the app.
I mean, that's fine. That's fair. Have you seen what happens on Twitter lately?
No, that's the point. That's the joke. I'll like once a month log into the website and just see if anyone's messaged me and respond or whatever. But yeah, so that's the joke. Which isn't funny by now, but
But Dan didn't. It was see. There's that laugh. I love it.
This is the part. So this is the part. This is the part that I like. My chat has my chat has discovered recently that I'm a bit of a troll, and I also really like unconventional humor. So you getting awkward about this joke and then explaining the joke to me, that's where my humor is. So, some real Nathan Fielder stuff. Thank you.
I know that. It's only taken years for me to repay you then, because again, you're Yeah, no, I'm breaking off on tangents. What's new? First I'd ever heard of Danfinity. I was like missing, because I was between jobs, lost internet, so I went like missing from the community for a little bit. They got Dan to fill in for a co-host for RNG while I was missing. So I come back and I listen to the episodes. And at first I'm like, who's this Danfinity guy? The crap is this all about? But I listen to the episode. Business is saying something. Then it's like, hang on, let me get my nuts. Legitimately goes and grabs a can of nuts and starts eating them on stream. And for some reason, it was just like the most hilarious thing to me at the time.
First of all, why wouldn't I eat my nuts on stream?
But no, even before I met him, it's like, yeah, me and that guy are friends.
Yeah, and that's right, Des. When we had Dan on early on in our show, you weren't as a host yet either. That's right.
Negative.
I think, right? Yeah. So I think it was episode. I was looking this up earlier, people. If you want to go back, episode 26. So you can also hear Danfinity in the past instead of the future. But anyways,
yes. Best place to find me, of course, and get in touch with me is in the Discord. Yeah, it's in.
You forgot to mention you are currently Des Turkey.
Yes, I am currently Des Turkey. Still. Till these pansies in the Patreon land tell me to change it to something else. You won't? Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Challenge accepted. You can find me on Twitter at sin_media, where I do not have I's or L's, or over on the Discord next to you two lovely gents. Kingsley, Wrath, Mac, take us out.
Yes, you can find me as Kingsley Mac, occasionally going back and playing Wrath the Machine in D1, because why not? You can find me as Kingsley Mac everywhere except for in the Discord right now. I am Kingleberry. Oh, by the way, you're Zin Media with a Z.
This is true.
Yes. But more importantly, you can just find our show on Twitter right now as The Guardian Hub or through our lovely website, theguardianhub.com.
If you said it, you cut out really, really bad on my end.
Oh, they cut out me out right then?
Yes.
You can find our show again at theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Thank you, everyone.
I've seen some pretty good hubs.
Yes. Well, still, we're the best.
Okay.
Visit our hub first, then you can visit the other ones.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
No, there are no other hubs.
There are no other hubs. Just listen to us and watch us. We don't have anything to watch yet.
Pornhub, you got RedTube.
See, that's
In
not
all
even
fairness, that tube is not a hub.
Wait, do we have to mark this crazy now? It's all good.
Mark explicit.
We love you all. Have a good week, everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
So here's something about hubs that you guys may not know.
Oh God.
Now we're in the After Dark show.
At least we are in the Guardian Hub After Dark.
So Mohafa said Destiny Lore Hub. I was the one
Yeah.
that came up with the name for that.
Nice.
When they were moving away from Focus Fire Chat, I was like, Destiny Lore Hub, and they liked it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, there's something about Hub. I remember when Sin and I were coming up with the names, and I kind of narrowed them down to 3, and I think Sin liked Guardian Hub a lot, and I don't know if it was my first pick, but I'm like, yeah, let's roll with it. And it was a good name.
Yeah?
It was magical.
It was magical.